Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Welcome to another episode of Ask Huda. I'm your host, Omar Dunlap, and we have with us our beloved Sheikh, Dr. Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Omar.
And I would like to remind our viewers of our telephone number 002-0238 555 248 or 249, or you can email us at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh, our first question is from Ibrahim from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He asks if you could give a description of the proper way to make ghusl.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wal aqibatu lil muttaqin wa la udwana illa 'ala adh-dhalimin. والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبعد. Praise be to Allah alone. We praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. May the best peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The term ghusl in Islam means an act of purification in order to remove or lift the major impurity. So for removing the minor impurity or lifting it, that is called wudu or ablution. But a major impurity as a result of having sexual intercourse, for instance, or a sexual discharge accompanied with stimulation, because there are different sexual discharge, such as al-madhi, for instance, that doesn't require ghusl. Rather, it would be sufficient to perform wudu and wash the private part. So for removing the major impurity, also in case that a woman finished her menses, monthly menses, or the postpartum or post-delivery bleeding, in this case she must perform ghusl, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ. They ask you, O Muhammad, concerning the menses. Say, قُلْ هُوَ أَذًا. It is harmful, so you're not supposed to approach your wife sexually or have a complete sexual contact, referring to the intercourse during the menses. فَلَا تَقْرَبُهُنَّ حَتَّى يَطْهُرْنَ. Do not approach them until they are pure. After the menses is over, a woman must perform a ghusl in order to lift the major impurity. Then it will be lawful for the couple to have an intimate relationship with a complete intercourse. This ghusl is different than any procedure of taking a shower or taking a bath or diving in the pool or swimming in the sea, because it requires a niyyah, an intention. So if somebody is having a major impurity for whatever reason of the reasons we mentioned earlier, including experiencing a wet dream, for instance, then he woke up and took a bath simply to clean up. Is this ghusl? No. Why not? Because he did not precede this act of purification with an intention of removing or lifting the major impurity. So an intention of al-ghusl is required. If somebody is taking a shower to freshen up or to clean up himself without the niyyah or the intention, then this is not ghusl. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, indeed, deeds are bought by their intentions, and every person will receive a recompense according to his intention. Then al-basmalah, saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in the beginning. The Prophet ﷺ said, every act, this is considered a serious act, such as an act of worship, does not begin in the name of Allah, it will be abtar or cut off from any goodness or righteousness or reward. So some of the scholars require it as a fard or a pillar. Saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If somebody is taking a shower or a bath in the bathroom where there is a toilet, and you know that this is a place where you are not supposed to speak or mention the name of Allah or make any dhikr, it will be sufficient to say it without moving your tongue, without uttering the words. Say it within yourself, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Then begin by washing your hands. Then we'll come to speak about the personal hygiene. Washing your hands first, yes, because your hands might be contaminated with any impurities or cause an infection. Then washing the private part, because this is to lift the major impurity. washing the private part, whether a male or a female, then afterward performing wudu. Wudu before ghusl, yes, these are the sunan, the nawafil. If you're talking about, the question was pertaining the perfect proper ghusl. Then after performing wudu, you pour the water on the right side of the body first, then the left side, then all over the entire body, and make sure that water reaches everywhere between the fingers, the toes, and the hair, and the underarm, between the legs. You wash the entire body. That's a perfect ghusl. And this ghusl will be sufficient for wudu and ghusl as well. Meaning, since you performed ghusl, it would left the major and inclusively the minor impurity as well. So after you perform ghusl, once you step out of the shower place or the bathroom, you don't have to perform another wudu to be able to pray. That would be sufficient, and you can just pray immediately. Or do any act of worship which requires tahara, such as tawaf. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line with us Brother Hamza from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Go ahead, brother, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, كيف حالك?
Alhamdulillah, Hamza, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, sir. Please pray for the forgiveness of the Ummah, please, sir.
May Allah forgive us all. Ameen.
Inshallah.
And thank you
Ameen.
for inquiring such a great thing.
Sir, I have actually 3 questions.
Okay?
First question is that in my school, time for Zuhr Salah Azan is over. It is actually 12:17, and my period bell is over at 12:30 actually. So the prayer is already finished. I do not get the first jama'ah. I just get the second jama'ah, the third jama'ah.
Okay.
And to pray the Zuhr Sunnah before and after, can I pray after Zuhr Salah the Sunnah which are before?
Okay.
The second question is that my beard, when it is growing, it is little curly and something. So everybody is telling me trim it. But I heard that Prophet ﷺ said leave it. So
No.
I am leaving it. Just can I apply some cream to make it straight?
Okay.
And the third question is that my pant sleeves, they are always alhamdulillah, they are folded. That means I am not doing just for salah, for all times.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have that long pants only, I don't have short pants. I asked this question 2 times before. I did not get the answer because it is my fault that I during the answer, Isha prayer is going on here, so I went to pray the Isha and I did not get the answer. And during the recap, Zohar prayer is going on. So both the times I did not get. So please, if you could answer. Jazakumullah khair.
Wa jazakum. Thank you, Hamza. Next
on the line we have Brother Mohammed from Nigeria. Go ahead, brother, with your question, please. Brother Mohammed, are you there?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead with your question, please.
Sheikh Muhammad, Allah reward you abundantly.
Ameen. And you too.
Sheikh, I have 2 questions to ask.
Okay.
Firstly, as a civil servant that have a contract with the employer,
Okay.
and the agreement is for you to work from so period to so period.
Brother Mohammed, I think we lost Brother Mohammed there. If you can, call us back and we'll try to get to your question, inshallah. We can go back to Brother Hamza's question. I think he was saying that during school he misses the Jama' for Zuhr. And he wants to know if he can pray the sunnahs, can he make up the sunnah prayers for that?
Brother Hamza, may Allah bless you and your family, and may Allah increase your keenness to offer the ibadah on time. First of all, we have to understand that there is an immense reward in attending the prayer, the first jama'ah at the very first takbir, which is known as takbiratul ihram. So every male Muslim should do his best to attend the jama'ah, the first jama'ah from its beginning. Even if you have to skip a part of the class, and this is what we used to do when we were students in middle school, in high school, in college, and alhamdulillah wa shukrullah, it did not affect our studies at all. There is a barakah in answering the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on time. And I wish in every school, you said that you were calling from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, even if it is an international or a private school, the Parents' Council should put pressure on the school to take a break once they hear the adhan. This is a Muslim country. Whenever we were in the student union, we utilized this facility in order to put pressure to facilitate for the students the access to pray on time. And alhamdulillah, shukla, we were able to do so. With regards to what if somebody misses the first jama'ah and he is coming to attend the second or the third jama'ah, he is inquiring about the sunnah before dhuhr. What am I supposed to do about it? Can I make it up after? Yes, of course. Even if it is postponed after dhuhr, after asr. We know that there is no sunnah after asr, nor is it permissible to pray any nawafil after asr. But once Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, one of the mothers of the believers, have seen the Prophet ﷺ praying after asr. She asked him, O Messenger of Allah, didn't you forbid us from praying after asr? He said, yes, but these are 2 rakahs of dhuhr. I got busy, I was caught up with certain business that I forgot about them, so I'm making them up because it's an emphatic or a confirmed mu'akkada sunnah. So it is recommended that you make it up once you finish the fard. What we see of some people with very low education in the deen, they enter the masjid, they see the jama'ah has been established, and they initiate the sunnah in order to make sure that they pray the sunnah before, then whether they catch some of the prayer with the imam or with the jama'ah or not, this is totally invalid. As a matter of fact, any prayer that you start as a nafl or voluntary prayer, while the fard is established in the masjid, such prayer is invalid. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أُقِيمَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَلَا صَلَاةَ إِلَّا الْمَكْتُوبَةِ. Once the muazzin establishes the iqamah, the second adhan, and the imam stands up to lead the prayer, any nafl or voluntary prayer is invalid if it is offered at the same time. There is no conflict between, there should not be any conflict between both of them. The priority is to attend the fard. Then afterward, you can pray the sunnah after dhuhr and make up the sunnah which you missed before dhuhr. And Jazakallah khairan for your keenness. With regards to your beard, it is not only permissible to apply cream or oil, it is actually the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, مَنْ كَانَ لَهُ شَعْرٌ فَلْيُكْرِمْهُ, that one should not leave his beard which would look like a Satan. Comb your hair, comb your beard, and apply oil or cream or hairdresser. All of that is permissible, and you receive a reward for applying such thing to your hair to look nice and cool. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَمِيلٌ يُحِبُّ الْجَمَالِ. As a teenager, you said you're a student. It is very important to understand that there's nothing wrong with buying nice, clean, expensive clothes, even name brands, if you're not buying them to show off. But you're buying them to look nice, to look great. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, verily, Allah is most beautiful and He likes beauty. So He allowed us to dress nice and He recommended that for us.
Jazakallah khair for that nice answer. Sheikh, we have on the line Abdurrahim from the United Arab Emirates. Go ahead, sister, with your question, please.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one, I want to know, like, when your kids get older, and there's different opinions, like let's say about pictures. Like maybe you don't prefer to take pictures, and then your kids take for the view where they think it's okay. That's like a mirror. And if they're living in your house with you still, maybe they married and they come back to stay with you. Can you ask them not to take pictures in your house, but tell them to go ahead, as they please otherwise, or not?
Okay, so if I'm understanding your question, you're asking, is it okay to tell your children once they've gotten older to not take pictures in the house?
Just out of respect for your views in your house, because there's difference of opinion. I'm not saying their opinion's wrong. I'm just saying that we chose that way. But to keep them on the straight path and keep them close to you, not to push them away. My second question is about death, and we're told like if someone passes away, if it's not a husband, that you can mourn for 3 days. I want to know that the pain doesn't go away within 3 days sometimes. So is it okay to
Okay.
cry after that?
No, no.
And also about when you pray for sakin and patience, is the patience and that, is it coming from your heart or from your mind? Is there anything in Islam, I mean, is it combined or where is that pain and patience supposed to come from?
Okay.
And lastly, is there benefits when someone dies in Ramadan? And if it's like,
That's 4 questions now, Muhammad. Inshallah, we'll answer them right after you finish.
Jazakallah khair for
If
that.
we don't have any pending phone calls, do you have any?
Not right now,
Okay.
no.
The first question is concerning, I'd like to applaud the way you presented your question. Thank you so much. It's a very nice way that she's asking something that concerns every parent. That when the children grow up and they go on their own, whether they go to college or they get married and they have their independent life. So when they come to my house to visit, and she's asking about one of the examples of the things that if there are different views. Yes, in taking digital photos, there are different views nowadays in this regard. But it is with regards to statues or drawing pictures of humans or live objects, this is definitely haram. Also, hanging them against the walls or in the house that veil or prevent the angels from entering such house. But we're talking about taking pictures on your cell phone or on your digital camera. So the mother says that my view is I believe that this is not permissible, and this is a very well respected view. So is it permissible or okay for me to tell my children when they come to my house not to take pictures in the house? It is absolutely, you're right. Not only that, even if it is not a respected view, as long as it is something that is halal, it is your word, it is your say in your house, and your children must abide with your command, whether in your house or outside. That if we're talking about youthful children. Right before the program, I was talking to one of the parents about a dialogue between her and her child. We have to educate our children that when you're speaking to your parent, he is not a friend of yours or somebody who's younger than you, that you remove the barriers. I'm talking about, yes, you should befriend your children, and the parents and the children should feel the closeness of the relationship. But the children have to understand that they're speaking to their parents. Parents whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the second rank right after worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, وَعَبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا then وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and be good and dutiful to your parents. So respect should be there all the time. Unfortunately, those who study in international schools or they travel abroad, they lose those meanings. They have very little respect. Not necessarily all of them, but this is a general tradition that I have noticed, whether through living in the West or those who study in such international schools. Because same, they don't exchange this kind of respect with their teachers. You know? So we have to go back to the Islamic teachings and etiquette, that speaking to the parents with politeness, with proper etiquette, and if they say anything that is either permissible or has a reference in the deen that has become a command, that one must obey his parents, especially when you come to their house, you must pay them back the due respect. Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, have noticed that somebody was carrying his mother on his shoulders, and he was performing tawaf around the Kaaba with her. So he thought that he impressed everybody, and he said, Ya ibn Umar, do you think that I have paid her enough? He said, not even equivalent to one scream or pain or of the cramps during giving birth. So you can never pay her enough. So the proper way is to pay them the due respect and do your best to honor them until their death. And after their death, that's extended as well. Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, may he be humiliated and disgraced. Whom? One who witnesses his parents or one of them, and he does not enter paradise through serving them properly.
Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line Sister Nuhaba from the United States of America. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
عليكم
assalam.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum salam. I have two questions.
Okay.
Number one, when a diabetic patient checks up her blood in the morning or anytime, does it break wudu? Does she need another wudu while she is checking up her blood from the machine?
Could you repeat that question one more time for me, just to make sure that I have it?
Hello?
Yes, Sister, can you repeat that question?
Okay. My question is that, the diabetic patient, when she checks her blood from the machine, does it break her wudu? Does she need to do wudu again?
Okay, I got it. And your next question?
And my next question is, my friend is doing colonoscopy test today. Does she need ghusl for that?
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
I have another question I just want to request Dr. Sheikh Mohamed Salah.
Okay.
When Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu met Allah, how does after he had to sitting down? Can you please explain?
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your question, Sister. We also have on the line Sister Maryam from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Go ahead with your question, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Eid Mubarak to all of you.
Thank you.
Eid Mubarak to you.
I'm an avid fan of Dr. Mohamed Salah and hearing his advice and lectures.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
And my question is it alright if I'm printing out in the internet the reading in the translation in Arabic into English?
Okay. So that's like reading like a transliteration?
Yeah, like for example, in Surah Al-Fatiha,
Okay.
in Arabic by writing, but in English, they write it in English by
No,
Surah
no.
Al-Fatiha,
I got
like
it.
that.
Okay. Jazakallah khair for that question. I would like to go back to Abdurrahim's second question now.
Mm-hmm.
She said, can you mourn for somebody more than 3 days? Because she was saying that you still feel the sadness. It doesn't go away
She
after that.
quoted basically the meaning of a hadith. It is not permissible or any person to mourn it is not permissible for any person to mourn the death of any person for more than 3 days, except for a wife, that she should mourn the death of her husband for 4 months and 10 days. Mourning or al-hidad here means showing the symptoms of sadness. Showing the symptoms of sadness, avoiding wearing any adornment or beautifying oneself, wearing cologne or fragrance or colorful clothes, etc. But with regards to the sadness in the heart, this is something that I have no control over. When somebody loses a beloved one, whether a son or a daughter or a father, a parent, or in this case, or a brother or a sister, they may miss that person for a year or forever. But as long as life does not stop there, and as long as the person does not express their sorrow and grief by making any statement that upsets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or contradicts or shows an objection to His decree. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam lost his son. And it was his only son at that time, Ibrahim. He was very young. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam cried. So when some of the companions saw him crying, he made a beautiful remark. He said, إِنَّ الْعَيْنَ لَتَدْمَعْ وَإِنَّ الْقَلْبَ لَيَحْزَنْ وَإِنَّا عَلَى فِرَاقِكَ يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ لَمَحْزُنُونَ Yet وَلَا نَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يُرْضِ الرَّبِّ. Again, that it is true that one's heart, he said, his heart feels very grieved and sad for the loss of his son. And that's why his eyes were shedding tears. And he feels sorry for his loss. Yet, he does not say or make any remark that upsets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, he only says what pleases Allah, such as Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And that should be maintained from the moment of recognizing that your beloved person have expired or passed away and forever. And that's why when the Prophet ﷺ passed by the grave and saw a woman mourning the death of her son, and she was making some remarks objecting to Allah's decree, he said, Ya amat Allah, ittaqillaha wasbiri. Fear Allah and be patient. She said, get away from me. You have not been afflicted with my calamity, or with a calamity similar to mine. Then when he left her alone, because it was not the right time to advise her, he recognized that she was locked up. So he left. They told her that that was the Prophet himself. So she went to his house and she tried to apologize. He said, don't worry about apologizing. إِنَّمَا الصَّبْرُ عِنْدَ الصَّدْمَةِ الْأُولَى. The actual patience is at the first shock. Not after several days or weeks to say, Alhamdulillah, I'm being patient. No, patient from moment one and going on. With regards to whether patience comes from the heart and the mind, in fact, there is no difference between the heart and the mind. In Islam and in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expresses about the mind or the aql by the heart. He says, أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Do they have hearts, locks over their hearts that they do not understand the Quran? أَفَلَا تَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. And furthermore, he said, لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. It seems like the heart is a source of thinking and reflection, not just the emotion. So what really concerns us here is, how can I be patient? By acquiring patience and maintaining or attaining its means. Number one, by making dua. As the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّمَا الصَّبْرُ بِالتَّصَبُّرِ. Some people say that I have very bad temper. I just lose it. I have zero patience, zero tolerance, and this is something in the family, it's in my gene or whatever. False. This is totally false. Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, good manners can be earned. Yes, they're inherited, but they also can be acquired by maintaining a strong belief, especially believing in القضاء والقدر. وأن ما أصابك لم يكن ليخطئك وما أخطأك لم يكن ليصيبك. This is a lesson that the Prophet ﷺ taught to his cousin Abdullah ibn Abbas when he was only 13 years old. So at an early age, we inspire our children, teaching them one of the most important articles of faith, the sixth, which is to believe in the preordainment. وأن تؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. It's good and what seems to us as bad. Allah knows best. This is a life cycle. Somebody has to die. If it is not your beloved one, it may be you yourself. But we're required to say, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Once you're afflicted with a calamity, whether it's a big or a little, you should immediately say, we all belong to Allah, and unto Him we shall return. Some people, they comfort their children. If your baby or your child broke a glass or a stack of china set in the kitchen, so they don't worry about it. To hell, or hell with it. No, we don't say that. You know what? Out of this calamity, you can earn a mountain of good deeds. You can be one of the patient ones by teaching him to say, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ مَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ. إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. And there is another beautiful dua that Allah will give you a better set than the one which your son broke, which is, اللهم أجرني في مصيبتي واخلف لي خيرا منها. Oh Allah, reward me concerning my calamity, concerning breaking the glass, or having a flat tire, or a car collision. Yes, why not? You're patient, so Allah will reward you for that. You did not say a bad word. Rather, you said, we all belong to Allah, and whatever we own and possess belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and unto Him we shall return. Oh Allah, give me better than what I lost.
And that's like a cure for depression even, isn't it? I mean, when you really believe in the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you feel like patience and
any person
contentment.
who commits suicide, or any community where the suicide rate is very high, and I delivered a lecture in Hong Kong about suicide. believe it or not, Omar, the only living creature which have tendency to commit suicide or even contemplate the idea of committing suicide is a human being. Why? Because every other living creature is a believer. Everything that Allah created do not have the choice whether to believe or not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَفْقَهُونَ تَسْبِيحَهُم. So they know, they are forced to believe. So they believe also in al-qada wal-qadar, even animals. But al-ins wal-jinn, they have this choice. So one who does not believe entirely, or believes partially, and does not believe entirely in al-qada wal-qadar, is very easy to commit suicide or kill others, because he does not trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he does not understand the benefits of the calamities. And inshallah, hopefully in another time, we'll have some time to speak about the benefits of the calamities, which is very strange as it sounds to many people, but there are many benefits in bearing calamities patiently.
Jazakallah khair for that beautiful answer, Sheikh. But we're going to go to a quick break, so don't go anywhere. You're watching Ask Huda.
The philosophy of Islamic law, a program for restoring belief and trust within Muslims' mind and heart, and for re-establishing a true concept about Islamic rules for others.
Amazing stories. In this program, we get to know about people of the past whose stories were mentioned in the Islamic tradition and related by the Prophet, peace be upon him.
That verily us, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we tell you about the best of the stories. We tell you about the best of the stories. When we narrate a story, when we read a story, when we try to benefit from a story, what we are trying to do in reality is to go back through the steps, through the different parts and sections of this story until the story is actually completed, and that we can take the actual benefit directly from the story.
Sheikh Lutfi will narrate these stories in his program Amazing Stories.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered one of the lands to come closer, the destination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered one whole city to come closer, to move closer to this dead person.
Be proactive. Dr. Haytham Al-Haddad teaches us how to take a conscious control over our life, set our goals and work to achieve them in Islam. Take firm steps towards your future. Be positive and be proactive.
Every single Muslim needs to have in order to be an effective person.
So proactivity in Islam, how to serve our religion and how to serve our life and our guides through all of this.
The proactive person is always motivated. The proactive person always have high ambition. The proactive person, he will not lose his time. He will not waste his time. The proactive person is a generous person.
Bismillah. Welcome back to Ask Huda. I would like to remind our viewers of our telephone numbers 002-0238 555 248 or 249, or you can email us at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh, we have a pending question here. Is there any benefit in someone dying during the month of Ramadan?
Well, basically, the benefit is if the person dies while he is fasting, whether in Ramadan or in any other day, even if it is voluntary fasting. Because in the hadith, that whoever's last statement is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah then dies, shall enter paradise. And if somebody was fasting, then he died while in a state of fasting, or his last action was fasting, then he dies, shall enter paradise, and so on. So it is not the timing. Some people have in mind certain days, such as Monday or whatever. If that person was righteous and died during while fasting, or died on an act which is a good deed, then such person is given the glad tidings of entering paradise, not simply by just dying in Ramadan or at the night of Ramadan.
Very good. Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Sister Rahma from Nigeria. Sister, go ahead with your question, please. Oh, I think we lost...
I've met many brothers and sisters in Mecca recently from Nigeria, and some of them shared with me their complaint that we do not entertain their phone calls, which is obviously not true. That in Ramadan, most of the phone calls which were answered from Nigeria. But the problem is with the bad connection or sometimes the cheap phone cards, what will happen is, alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters, we do not engineer any phone call. We do not know who's calling and what is the question, what is the upcoming event or question. Alhamdulillah wa shukrullah, this is something very, very important to share with you. We do not know how many phone calls will we receive or answer this episode or any of that. As a matter of fact, the pending phone call right now is from Nigeria as well. I just wanted to assure you that if you're calling from a good line, whether from America or Nigeria, we'll be more than happy and delighted to answer your phone call, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala. We also have on the line Sister Khair from Nigeria. If you could go ahead with your question, please. Oh, I lost another call there. Well, we can go back to a question that we had in our last episode. We had someone ask about the word dhanuban in the Quran. What is the meaning of that?
dhanuban. Yeah. Well, في سورة الذاريات, in chapter الذاريات, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا ذَنُوبًا مِثْلَ ذَنُوبِ أَصْحَابِهِمْ فَلَا يَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. This is a divine threat to the wrongdoers, to the oppressors, to the disbelievers and the criminals, by saying that indeed the wrongdoers shall receive a share of the punishment similar to those who were before them. Because sometimes the oppressors and the criminals, because Allah gives them a respite, they think they're safe. Countries invade other countries and they violate the human rights. They massacre hundreds of thousands of people, and they think because they are a superior country that nobody can bring them to court, and they have this sort of immunity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is assuring the criminals and the oppressed ones, don't worry, it's a matter of time. Similar to those who were punished before them, they too shall be brought to justice. Not the justice of Lahai or the criminal court or any worldly humanly court. No, the justice of Allah, the ultimate justice. فَإِنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا ذَنُوبًا مِثْلَ ذَنُوبِ أَصْحَابِهِمْ. So the word dhanub means a share of the punishment, similar to that share of those who were before them. فَلَا يَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. Do not rush, it's coming.
Jazakallah khair for that answer. We have a question from Sister Nahiba from the United States. She said, when someone checks their blood, for example, if they're diabetic or something like that, does that break the wudu?
No, it does not.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that. And we also have Sister Muhammad from Saudi Arabia on the line. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Hello, assalamu
wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, I'm having a question regarding Umrah. I live in Saudi Arabia, but I'm just staying in the other city. My intention was to make Umrah, but first I want to go to Jeddah. I went to Jeddah, but the people said that you cannot make a fair ihram from the home, from my relative's home. So I went back to Miqat.
Which city are you living at?
I'm living in Abha.
Abha, okay. Do you know what is the miqat between you and Mecca?
Yeah, Yemen.
Okay.
So I want to know that, is it okay? Can I wear the ihram from my relative's house, or I have to go back to the Miqat?
Okay.
And the second question is that, Is it compulsory to go back to the same route from where I'm coming, or I can wear from anywhere, from any miqat?
I totally missed the last part. If you can calm down a little bit and repeat the remaining question.
Okay, my question is that, means, do I have to go back to the same route from where I'm coming, from the same route of the miqat, from where I'm coming?
Okay.
Or I can wear ihram from any miqat which is coming on my, like I'm going to go and wear from Masjid Aisha or something?
Okay.
Since the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said with regards to al-mawaqit, appointed places, if any person is heading towards Mecca to perform Umrah, that if you're coming from certain directions, that you should not enter Mecca or pass those points which are called al-mawaqit, appointed places, without assuming the intention of ihram. Your miqat, if you're living in Abha, is Yalamlam. Okay? So you should have made the intention of performing Umrah, since you're coming to Mecca to perform Umrah, from the appointed miqat. If you reached Jeddah already and you did not make the intention, there are two ways to make it up or rectify this violation. Either go back to the miqat if it is accessible and make the intention from there, then there is no sin or blame on you. Or that you make the intention from your place, you perform Umrah, and you rectify that by offering a fidyah, slaughtering a sheep to be distributed among the poor people of Mecca. So if you're nearby, I don't know how far is the distance, but if you're nearby, you can still make it up. You go back to the miqat and make the intention. And please, every person who's coming from any country to perform Umrah or Hajj, this is a very sacred ibadah, and it costs effort, time, and a lot of money, especially those who are coming from long distances. So please, before making the intention or traveling or buying the package, read about Hajj and Umrah and know exactly the pillars, the wajibat, and the recommended acts in order to avoid any violation. May Allah accept your Umrah, and please include us in your dua.
We also have on the line Sister Rahma from Nigeria. She's back with us, so if you could go ahead with your question, please, Sister. Sister Rahma?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions, please.
Okay.
My first question is about Salatul Tasbih. We heard that in some places that is there's a da'if hadith based on it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know exactly what is the what is the ruling on Salatul Tasbih.
Okay.
Yes. My second question is there a minimum amount of zakah that you can give? For example, if my zakah is $1,000, can I give one person the $1,000, or should I give 2 people? Or in Nigeria, for example, $100 can feed like a family for a month. So can I now divide it into $100 and give it to 10 families?
Okay.
That's the second question. Then the third question is, what is the Islamic way of reprimanding children? You know, when they are naughty, what can I do to get them to behave themselves?
Okay,
Jazakallah khair for that question.
I could hear the director in the earpiece was praying that, asking Allah that this phone call would not be cut off. And perhaps it is the blessing of his invocation.
Okay, and we also have on the line Brother Mohammed from Nigeria. Go ahead, brother, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. My question is that as a civil servant, if one has an agreement between him and his employer to work from so time to so time, but one is not really opportune to stay within that period for one thing or the other. What is going to be the result of the salary he is collecting? Is it halal or haram? And then my second question is, if you have young daughters, if they bring a husband, a suitor, to marry them, and you feel there's a need for you to investigate, to see their aqidah and their steadfast statement in the religion, if you find that there is a problem, is it permissible for one to stop the marriage and get somebody that has the real qualifications,
Okay.
mean the Akida and the state partners in religion?
Okay.
Thank you very much. May
You're
Allah
welcome.
bless you.
Okay,
And you too.
Jazakallah
Jazakallah
khair
khair.
for that question, Brother Mohammed. We had a question from Sister Miriam from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She said, is it okay to read a transliteration of Fatiha, the Arabic, with English letters?
Well, if one does not know any better, meaning does not know how to read the Arabic letters, then it is permissible. But this is not the end of the story. As I said always, this is a first step in the procedure of learning how to read the Quran. The Quran is not only revealed for the Arab. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكَرٍ. Allah made it very easy to be studied, to be read, to be recited. And inshallah, if you're sincere, you will find yourself in a few weeks being able to read the Quran like the Arab exactly.
Also, Sheikh, some people have a question about reading the Quran in English. Do they get like barakat for that? Is that good deed?
You get a barakah, you get a blessing, correct. But is it the same like reading the Quran as the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to read? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Obviously, there is no comparison. Yes, if you read it in Arabic, as it was revealed, and you're struggling, you get double the reward of a person who was born with an Arabic mother tongue and it's easy for him. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and the one who recites the Quran and he's stuttering and is struggling receives double reward.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Rahma from Nigeria, her first question was about Salatul Tasbih. Is this based on a hadith? Is this
It
sunnah?
is definitely an odd hadith and a very weak hadith. And we do not base an act of worship on a hadith da'if in the most right view. There are detailed explanations concerning this point. I'm not generalizing, okay? Especially this kind of prayer instructed the person who prays it to do certain procedures, such as making certain number of tasbih after reciting the surah, then before making ruku', then after rising up from ruku', then between the sajda and in the sujood and in the ruku'. How come that no one of the companions other than the narrator, which is Al-Abbas, was aware of it? If it was such a great prayer with the great virtues, at least a handful of the companions would have narrated it. But since it's an odd hadith, then it is better to switch to an act of worship or a ibadah, which is guaranteed that if you do it, there is a set of reward for it that the Prophet ﷺ have indicated in the sound hadith.
We had a call from a brother Muhammad in Egypt, but we lost the call, but they were able to get his question about health insurance. Is it halal or haram?
I would refer you to the program of contemporary fiqh issue with Sheikh Asim. He was talking to me yesterday about it. It dealt with it in details. But in brief, social health insurance or social insurance in general is permissible, because everybody is a beneficiary, whether I benefit out of it or I use it or not. But the commercial insurance is haram, and the Sheikh have explained that in details. Unfortunately, we're out of time, and that's why I won't be able to go in details in explaining the difference. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair for being with us today and answering these questions, Sheikh. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for us today. I would like to go ahead and close the episode, but before I do, I would like to remind our viewers that you can email us your questions at ask@huda.tv. For those of you who would like to support Huda TV with a financial contribution or support any of our shows, you can send us an email at support@huda.tv. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. So until next time, I'm your host, Omar Dunlap, wishing you peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest.